So for the questions, I guess we stand the questions down and deal with just the presentation of papers. And when we are done, I believe we may take an adjournment.
The Speaker, I'm not sure that statement is very accurate. As Mr. Speaker can see, the Honorable Podo is here. I'm here. I'm representing. I'm the available leader. My brother is here with me. So our numbers are increasing. I'm sure by the time we write. But Mr. Speaker, that said, it's obvious that we are not properly constituted to transact any meaningful business.
And given the circumstances of today, I would want to move that we take an adjournment.
Mr. Speaker, I second the motion ably moved by the majority leader.
Honourable members, the motion for adjournment has been moved and seconded. All in favour of the House adjourning now say aye. All against say no. The ayes have it. The House is accordingly adjourned till Thursday, June 29th, 2023 at 10 o'clock in the forenoon.
Let's step away briefly from the Asin North by-elections whilst we wait to connect with Kingsley Nanabuedu and head to the courts now. The Accra High Court has sentenced 6 persons convicted over their involvement in the Western Togoland disturbances in 2020 to a maximum of 4 years in prison in hard labor. Meanwhile, the court sentenced the third accused to 2 more years for stealing. The judge, Justice Mary Yanzu, convicted the accused persons after finding them guilty for offences contrary to the Prohibited Organizations Act 1976, SMCD 20.
The convicts are Kennedy Awunyo Kwame Tonyaviji, aka Abizi Bay, Raymond Yao Blue, aka Captain, Edem Nukunu, aka FBI Commander, Jerry Paglo, and Sylvanus Shashi. The charges preferred against them include attending meetings of a prohibited organization, making contributions to the funds of a prohibited organization, participating in the campaign of a prohibited organization, and being a member of a prohibited organization. The court heard that national security officers based on intelligence embarked on an operation to identify and arrest members of the Western Togoland Restoration Front, who on September 25, 2020, blocked the road at Drapong and Sogakope and set fire to 2 STC vehicles. The group on the same day also attacked the Avahime and Mepe police stations, respectively, and freed the inmates in the cells, locked up the policemen on duty in the cells, took arms and ammunition from the armory of the police stations, and bolted. The Western Togoland Restoration Front is a splinter organization from the Homeland Study Group Foundation, whose main objective is to secede from the Republic of Ghana. Investigations led to the arrest of the convicts, who admitted to being members of Western Togoland Restoration Front and also to playing active roles in its organization and activities. In a search conducted in the room of the first accused, Kennedy Awunyo, quantities of Western Togoland flags and stickers were found. He is also said to have received and disbursed funds of the Western Togoland Restoration Front to ensure that the plans of the organization materialized. The second accused person, Kwame Tonyaviji, alias Abizbe, stole one a raid on September 25, 2020. Raymond Yao Blue, also known as Captain, admitted to participating in Western Togoland's guerrilla military training, after which he was issued with a certificate, a Western Togoland membership card, and an Army guerrilla training certificate in his name and with his picture embossed on it, were found during a search in his room. The third, fourth, and sixth accused persons are said to have contributed funds for the running of the Western Togoland Restoration Front. The facts concluded that, but for the vigilance of the security agencies, the activities of the accused persons and others at large would have led to the disruption of the 2020 presidential and parliamentary elections in the Volta and Oti regions. Chris Akume, lawyer for the convicts, prayed the court for a lesser punishment since his clients had spent over 2 years on remand.
As a citizen of this country, I assume that all other persons should be law-abiding. Okay. And anything which is done to disturb the peace and tranquility of this nation must be punished. I have no qualms about it. In this instant case, I think that there will be so much exaggeration on the part of the prosecution when it comes to the offenses which they were alleged to have committed. Yes. Because some of them were not even at the various courts that they claimed they were, and never participated in some of the actions that have been mentioned in the charges.
The number adds up to 11, the number of persons who have been convicted and sentenced for the same offense by the court. The first batch of 5 convicts were sentenced to a total of 25 years in prison in hard labor.
You're watching News On Live on GBC News and GTV. We have been able to connect with Kingsley Nana Boadu in Assin North to tell us what is currently ongoing in that constituency. Earlier, he reported that voting had ended and sorting and counting was underway. So, Kingsley, if you can hear me, what more can you report?
Okay. Well, thank you very much. As I speak with you, we are all at the Coalition Center at Assin North, where all the ballot boxes have been sent to, of course, for the counting of it. So that is what is happening here. This is the Coalition Center that we are standing. If you can see, there are ballot boxes here. All of them have brought them, and it is expected that they will send it in there for us to, of course, the officials to, of course, compile them and give us the actual figures and, of course, the authenticated figures that we are expecting. So basically, that is it. If you can see, they are trickling in one after the other, and that is what we are all looking out for. But whilst we are waiting for all the ballot boxes to come, so they take their time and compile them, let me give you some of the figures that have already come in. When you go to Assin Engwa Catholic Primary, NPP candidate had 296, and the NDC candidate had 221. Methodist Primary 2, Breku, NPP 171. LPG has 0, and NDC had 204. When you come to Achre Bonda, that is one of the polling stations, the NPP candidate had 135. NPP candidate, that is Charles Opoku, had 135. And the NDC candidate, Honorable James Kwesin, had 369. When you come to Assin Praso Old Catholic, NPP had 233, LPG 3, NDC 124. Assin Kwame, that is also one of the police stations. NPP had 45, NPP 45, NDC 130. When you go to Esuo Komaso, that to NPP had 32, LPG 1, NDC 120. When it comes to Ashuromso DA Primary, NPP had 46, LPG 1, then NDC had 342. Now, when you can come to PP 197, LPG 0, we have 7 rejected. Prasu DC PP 195, NDC 192. Now our Methodist primary 1, NDC had 201, NPP 209, and LPG 0. So basically that is the trend is going. Then when it comes to Amua Chrome, NDC 394, NDC, then NPP 94. Five, NDC 145, then MPP 174. When you come to MSSB, NPP 197, then NDC 143. So basically that is what is it. This is a temporary, it is not official from the EC. These are some of the few coalition that we've been able to do from the various polling stations. We are yet to get the official and authenticated one from the EC, and that is why we are here. So we'll soon go in there and find out from the EC. As you can see, the ballot boxes are already in here, and a number of them have already arrived. Some are also on the way coming. So definitely we will have them. But let me talk to one official here, officer here, to tell us his name. He is an observer and is going to tell us his name and his observation so far. Sir, tell me your name.
Thank you very much. Good evening to you all. My name is Dr. Nene Adams Asafotei. I am part of the team that came around, in fact, representing the National Democratic Congress here at the elections here. So far, elections largely started exactly at 7 o'clock in the morning. The tensions were somehow high, but at the end of the day, largely you would say that the elections have been peaceful with isolated, incidences. Right now, polls were closed. At exactly 5 o'clock, as is required by law, and now ballot boxes are coming in. Collations have been done at the various centers, and we have some few results, which is quite encouraging, and it is good news for the people of Ghana.
All right, so that is what he's saying. Because it seems everything is going well, but I have another journalist here who is also going to tell us his observation so far. Abada, tell me your name and what has been your observation.
Well, my name is Nanaya Okiafo, and I work with Afinka Media Village. It's been a very peaceful environment, very successful elections. I must say that I can only give the first credit to our state security, the police. Clearly, you will see that at every polling station, you have them there. Their presence was felt. Then they were not just there with sort of an intimidating spirit. They were there in a frenzied manner. That helped, in spite of the fact that before the elections this morning, some polling stations were highly tense. They managed to calm the situation down. Then I can also ask or say that the political parties themselves, their polling agents, were really on top. They really understood their work there, and so they came to deliver. They did their work as expected of them, vigilance won for the day. Everybody was highly vigilant. And I can also indicate that it was really a very fantastic election. And I must say that this has been one of the by-elections that I've covered that I've seen serious high voter turnout. And I was earlier expecting that in the end, the unforeseen circumstances were going to happen. But to my surprise, they even brought the coalition center somewhere that was not too easy to access. If you look at the way the police have barricaded the place, ensuring that if you don't have access, you can't come here. It tells me, Ghana, we have a long way to go, and we can easily get there if we so decide we want to get there. Kudos to Electoral Commission for putting in place some of these measures to ensure we have a successful by-election.
Exactly so. So basically, that is it. We will just be going inside the coalition center. The boxes are yet to be sent in there. So while they are making the arrangement, we will be going there to wait for the officials to make the official declaration. Then we can come back to you. So back to you in the studio.
Thank you, Kingsley Nanabwedu, for those updates, and we are sure to bring you the certified results when the EC declares it. Prices of cow, ram, and goats have doubled, and it's been difficult for Eid celebrants to buy. Traders are also complaining of low sales as Eid al-Adha celebration comes off in less than 24 hours. Our Tema regional correspondent Michael Dewano visited the Talaku livestock market and reports on some mixed demands ahead of the celebrations.
Coming to you from Tulaku, where hundreds of cattle, sheep and goats come from various parts of the country to be sold onto the market. First of all, we will be looking at the significance of this particular festival, Eid al-Adha, and we'll also be speaking with some traders in the business to find out how business is going with less than 48 hours to the celebration. My colleague Sharif Idrisu will be telling us the significance of this festival, and then we will go to some of the traders to also find out how business is doing.
3 months after the Ramadan, this happens. This Eid Adha also happened in our Muslim calendar. So in all, it's important in Islamic jurisdiction that we need to sacrifice sheep or cow, and as well as camel in that direction. So let me say that it's important. It's important for us to do that as a Muslim, as a who practice Islam has to do it.
So we are at the Tulaku market where hundreds of cow and goats are. The place is really busy with the movement of cattle, movement of sheep, and movement of goats. We will be getting closer to some of the traders and find out from them how business is going, and we will be getting closer to some persons who have come here to buy some of the sheep for their various sacrifices. I see one being pulled away. Let's find out, sir. Thank you so much for joining us, and you are welcome to GBC News.
Thank you.
Please, is this your sheep that you've got to buy?
Yeah.
But how is business? How much is it going for?
Oh, now things are expensive. Like this one, like this, I just bought it for 2,500 cedis.
This year, the market, the sweets. The last year, from 12 o'clock in the market, the sweets were. But this time, the system they go on. People know they buy goats. The ram too, they say the ram they cost. Where money no day. Money no day the time inside. So they for the government for try to do something. For release the money.
But initially, how much was it going for? How much were the prices?
The sheep, first, if you hold 1,500, you will get sheep. And now sheep be 35, 40, 60, 70, 80. So how the way that everything change now, the government for look something there, everything for be coming down. The cow will get 8,000, 7,000, 6,000. Now no cow 3,500 again.
Anthrax, is that affecting business? The anthrax?
No.
The disease.
Yes. You know the long goats, they don't bring them again.
Oh, okay.
Now from Togo cows, where they come now. Now Burkina cows, they are not coming again.
Buy ram 3,000, 4,000, 6,000, 7,000. You know go feed buyer. Unless you send him money away or go buy some meat £1 and go away. If not that first, we get everything simple.
It's more expensive.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's more expensive. This year, about the last year, well, this year is very cheap. Very expensive.
So
very
like
expensive.
last year, how much?
Last year, this one, it take 3,000.
The place is really bustling with a lot of activity. Ships are going in and they are coming out, and some people have also come to get their sheep and cows for their celebration, but the prices are really throat-cutting, and it has not been easy for the buyers. So reporting from Tulaku here, a suburb in Ashaiman, my name is Michael Dawonu.
Preparations to outdoor GBC's maiden edition of Gadangbe Biyo show is underway with an auditioning. The beauty pageant show aims to empower young female Gadambes in the Ga state and its environs and project the rich culture of the Gadangbe on GBC's Obonu TV.
Gadangbe Biyo, a beauty pageant program, seeks to exhibit not only the beauty of the female Gadangbe, but also to educate people on the Gadangbe tradition. A host of young ladies converge on the premises of the Ghana Broadcasting Corporation to try their luck at the auditioning to select suitable representatives for the program. Mr. Vincent Ruthford Quay, the producer and director of the show, gives some highlights of the program.
The concept is basically to train our Gadangbe ladies to bring out the culture that is dying down within the Gadangbe community. The whole concept is about bringing the Gadangbe together and also to bring out the culture that is kind of dying out.
Some of the participants shared their expectations with GBC News after going through a series of drills.
Audition anything, push me to that level.
I think I can go far if only I psych myself up for what is to come. I expect everything to go well if I put in more effort.
Auditioning begins on Monday 26 June to 7th July 2023 at Studio 9 at GBC. 13 ladies will eventually be selected for the show, which will be coming up soon on GBC's Obonu TV.
News are returned shortly with the business segment. Please stay with us.
Are you tired of struggling with bad financial situations? At Quick Credit, we understand the difficulties that come with transitioning to a better one. That's why we're here to simplify the process for you. With loan facilities from 1,500 cedis upwards, all you have to do is call and we will take care of the rest. All you need is your national ID. No savings, no collateral, no susu, no deposits, and no account opening required. Quick Credit has you covered. Whether you're expanding a business, starting a new one, facing an emergency like school fees or funeral expenses, or even just in need of a salary loan. What are you waiting for? Call Quick Credit today. 0302 200 390 or 059
Hello, it's time to talk business, brought to you by MTN with me, Esther Edu Okumeu. In our first story, Enterprise Group has announced the final dividend of 0.0744 pesos per share for 2022 to its shareholders. It is the same as a dividend paid in 2021, reflecting a determination to create value for shareholders despite economic difficulties. The details and more came up at the Enterprise Group's 2022 hybrid annual general meeting in Accra.
In 2022, the Enterprise Group's net income soared to 1.602 billion cedis, representing 37.4% growth over 2021. This was driven by a 21% increase in net earned premium, in addition to the positive currency impact on investment properties valuation, coupled with other revenue growth from pensions, funeral and properties businesses. Profit after tax for 2022 stood at 223 million cedis on account of the fair value gains on investment properties resulting from currency movement. Profit after tax was, however, impacted adversely by a 329 million cedis impairment of government bonds as required by the International Accounting Standards, resulting from the discounted cash flow of the new bonds to be issued under the DDEP compared to the value of the old bonds. Operating companies, Enterprise Life, Enterprise Insurance, Enterprise Trustees, Enterprise Funeral Services and Acacia have all retained their market positions in their respective industries. The chairman of the Enterprise Group, Mr. Kelly Gajepo, said despite the drop in the GSE Composite Index, Enterprise Group's stock price had an increase of 14.6%.
While DDEP is painful in the short term for both policyholders and shareholders, the main benefit for all long-term stakeholders will be greater financial stability with lower inflation and interest rates.
Total expenses went up by 30.40% over the prior year, driven largely by a 32.94% growth in claims and benefits and impairment of government bonds on shareholders' investments of 64.8 million cedis. Profit for the year was 222.67 million cedis compared to 122.85 million cedis in 2021, with the net cash generated from operating activities improving by 4.53% from 428.86 million cedis in 2021 to 448.29 million cedis in 2022. The group CEO, Enterprise Group, Mr. Daniel Labitieku, said based on its 2022 financial metrics, the group is on track to achieve its 2020 to 2024 financial ambitions contained in its 5-year strategy.
Our top line, which is our core bread and butter business, which is the insurance premiums, grew by almost 21%, which is a reflection of how good our business or how vibrant our business is. So in spite of the challenges that the debt exchange program brought to bear, we still were able to sail through and deliver reasonable results.
On the outlook, Enterprise Group says while interest rates have started to decline, the future is difficult to predict. Nonetheless, the group remains committed to the long-term value creation for the benefit of all shareholders through staying focused on its plans with support of its major shareholders in Black Star Holdings Limited.
Ghana's Petroleum Commission is urging international oil companies to commit to employing Ghanaian technicians and engineers in the upstream oil business, while admitting that the country is still working on improving certification for many of the careers in the oil and gas space. The Commission believes the process of localization must be a concerted effort.
Legislative Instrument 2204, promulgated in 2013, among other things, empowers the Petroleum Commission to promote maximization of value addition and job creation through the use of local expertise, goods and services, financing in the petroleum industry value chain, and their retention in Ghana. The Commission in the last decade has stepped up its localization drive, training many more Ghanaians to take over expatriate roles in the petroleum sector.
If you say you are a welder and you are going to do CWB, you have to go through. CWB is a Canadian Welding Bureau, and it's an industry standard certification that after going through your training, the institutional training, for a period of time, the industry requires that you go do that test to prove that you really can weld.
The 2023 edition of the Upstream Job Localization Conference is seeking to amplify the gains made over the years and also draft the necessary policy to guide localization.
It is also to ensure that the Petroleum Commission develops a mechanism to work with these international oil companies and IOCs and service companies to ensure that they are also taking from a pool of Ghanaians who are being certified by our institutions. The Takoradi Technical University, Cape Coast Technical University, Ho Technical, all of them are currently certifying engineers, welders, and a pool of people who are ready and available to be deployed.
Speaking at the forum, the Chief Executive of the Petroleum Commission, Mr. Egbert Fabel, pointed out some of the challenges impeding localization.
What we seek to do with the job role localization agenda is to ensure that for every expatriate that comes or who comes into Ghana to work as part of our upstream oil and gas sector, there is a Ghanaian who is going to be the successor. The challenge, however, is that due to technological challenges and even training capacity, lack of training capacity, when our people, Ghanaians, qualify from our universities and technical institutions, they find it difficult to get jobs because there's a certain disconnect between the traditional degree or diploma programs that we run in our universities and technical institutions and the practice or the practicalities of working upstream.
Localization in the upstream petroleum sector will not only reduce the cost of oil production in Ghana, but also increase the profits of investors in the sector.
The business news was brought to you by MTN. Thanks for watching.
Good evening and welcome to the energy segment. My name is Dominic Noji. The Ghana Revenue Authority, GRA, is being encouraged to intensify its efforts at collecting surface rental arrears from 4 petroleum contractors whose petroleum agreements were terminated in 2021. The Public Interest and Accountability Committee, PIAC, says surface rental arrears increased from $2.58 million in 2021 to $2.77 million in 2022. In an interview with Energy News, a member of PIAC, Alhaji Suleiman Anderson, said GRA must work harder at its strategy to recover all arrears.
A situation where some of these companies, after their agreements were terminated, we found that they were owing certain amounts that of surface rent that they have not paid over the period. And it happens that some of them have even left the jurisdiction. And when it is so, it is difficult to chase them. So we are saying that GRA, which has the authority to collect revenue for the state, and these are all tax revenues that falls under the domain of GRA. So we are saying GRA should now double their efforts to chase these companies and collect the monies that they owe, to the state. One of the things that our recommendation would also want the PC, that is the Petroleum Commission, to do is to collaborate properly with GRA. Let them know when you are terminating agreements and those companies are owing. GRA must be aware. For example, companies like Sahara Energy, Swiss African Oil Company, Britannia U, and UB Resources. These are the 4 companies whose agreements have been terminated. And these 4 alone owe 1.8 million out of the 2.7 arrears. So it tells you that the companies who have whose agreement have been terminated and owing this amount might not be motivated enough even.
The Director of Renewables and Energy Efficiency at the Energy Commission, Mr. Kofi Ejaku, is reiterating the importance of energy conservation in public and private use of electricity, highlighting the benefits of energy efficiency and conservation. In Accra, Mr. Ejaku said young people must inculcate the habit of conserving energy, so in later life, they will also instill the habit in their children.
We try to conserve energy, switching off the lights when they are not needed. If we are watching the TV, then we need to put off the sound system, not misusing the refrigerator, not misusing the air conditioner. We do all that, then we are cutting down on consumption. And when we cut down on consumption, we achieve 3 important benefits. The first one is about the environment. We save the environment because we don't force the economy to generate more energy and pollute the atmosphere, because we use fossil fuels to generate power. So the more we generate, the more carbon dioxide we emit. So if we cut down on consumption, we save the environment. That is number one. The second thing is that we save the economy. We change hard currency, dollar, to buy the fuel because our cities are not welcomed on the international market.
Total national power generation was 63.2156 gigawatt hours within the last 24 hours. Here are some key national statistics on electricity generation within the last 24 hours. That's it for the energy segment. My name is Dominic Noji.
The health segment is brought to you by Lufat from Tobinco. The fourth batch of 157 advanced emergency medical technicians have graduated from the paramedic and emergency care training school at Inkinkanso in the Ofenso North District. The graduates were reminded of the critical role of the National Ambulance Service in the healthcare sector and the need to work diligently and with compassion to save lives. The National Ambulance Service was established in 2004 with a mandate to provide pre-hospital emergency care to the sick and the injured and also convey them to health facilities. The actual field operations of the National Ambulance Service commenced with 7 pilot stations, 3 each in Ashanti and Greater Accra regions and 1 in the Eastern region. The number of ambulance stations has gradually grown from 7 to 296 stations throughout the country and 16 dispatch centers in all the regions. There was a need in 2010 to upgrade the skills of emergency medical technicians to handle more complex cases as part of their duties. This led to the commencement of the Advanced Emergency Technician Training Program. The fourth batch of 157 students who graduated this year were trained in anatomy and physiology, patient assessment and vital signs, access and pharmacology, trauma and emergency care, medical, behavioral, environmental and obstetrics, and gynecological emergencies. At the graduation ceremony, the graduates exhibited their prowess in a series of simulation exercises. The Deputy Minister for Local Government and Rural Development, Mr. Augustine Collins Intim, said though the training center has chalked up some successes, there is the need to address challenges in the institution.
The service is still bedeviled with numerous challenges, and this includes lack of dedicated source of funding leading to inadequate funding of various activities, a lack of adequate infrastructure and capacity building facilities at the Paramedic Emergency Care Training School.
The board chairman of the National Ambulance Service, Nana Riafe Abebio, reminded the graduates that the profession demands both competence and compassion.
The trust bestowed upon you by society is immeasurable, and it is essential that you approach your responsibilities with almost professionalism and empathy.
The chief of Ofenso Kokote, Nana Opoku Asiedu, urged the government to make paramedic training a priority.
Ladies and gentlemen, NAS plays a critical role in our health sector and requires the necessary support from the government to fulfill its mandate effectively. This training school is the sole institution that produces paramedics, and that is why we are calling for your assistance in developing the school to international standards.
The best students received awards including cash, flat screen television sets and a plaque. The overall best, Officer Cadet Christian Asari Bimpong, received a tabletop refrigerator in addition to other prizes. The health segment was brought to you by Kankesi Lufat from Tobinco.
On international front, incumbent Mr. Julius Maada Bio has been declared the winner of Sierra Leone's presidential election, but the opposition is disputing the result. Official figures indicate Mr. Bio gained 56% of the vote. His main rival, Mr. Samura Kamara, trailed far behind. After the first tranche of results were released on Monday, Dr. Kamara called the outcome daylight robbery. Saturday's vote took place amid tension, but President Bio has called on Sierra Leoneans to keep the peace. Dr. Kamara, who was the candidate for the All People's Congress APC, has alleged that his electoral agents were not allowed to verify the ballot counting. European Union and Commonwealth observers have highlighted problems with transparency in the tallying process.
From the first quarter, ready to play. My boys were a little bit nonchalant. We must just keep hitting it. We must be ready to play. We must be ready to fight. But they started fighting very, very late, which was very late. So we lost the game because we did not come to the party. We came to the party when everybody was going home. Going forward, this is not the best Nigeria could produce. We have so many obstacles. We cannot bring the best. But going forward, we are going to make certain changes in the team where we think we lack personnel. We are going to bring more personnel, and I tell you, the team you're going to see in Tunisia, by the grace of God, is going to be more of a different team from what you're seeing here today.
This is the first time we are hosting such a championship. But it's, unfortunately, the time was less for our preparation. As we think to take about 1 week to prepare for this championship. Then, as a focus, like we have even 1 month before this championship, I think things will be what it has gone now. So the time limit that we used to train for this championship, I really appreciate it. The boys, they have done a great job. And in fact, I'll say kudos to the team for a big work done.
That's all we have in this package, brought to you by GBC News and GTV. My name is Sarah Furry.
Thank you for watching. I'm Winifred from Robert from Paul Manson, translate the news in sign language.